If you're thinking of applying to Cambridge or Oxford for your undergraduate degree, then you will know how important the personal statement component of the application is. So in this video, I'm just going to talk about 5 tips that I think are the most important things to focus on when you're drafting your personal statement. And make sure you stick until the end because I will be reading the actual personal statement that got me into Cambridge. My name is Sandaleen and I graduated with a first in English from the University of Cambridge in 2021. So the first tip is sort of a mindset tip, and that is to be mentally prepared to redraft your personal statement multiple times and to start early. So I started writing my personal statement the summer before my second year of A-levels. So the summer before the year that we were going to apply to universities. And that really helped me because regardless of when you start, you're going to get feedback from at least 1 or 2 teachers. So I was really one of those people who thought that I would just write it in one go and I would barely have to tweak it, but I was really wrong. I needed to not necessarily restructure it. I did structure it quite well in the first draft, but there are a lot of things, a lot of extra things that were in there that really didn't need to be there and that eventually got cut. So yeah, start early. So the second thing is, and you will see this in my personal statement as well, is to really prioritize academic content and show how well read you are in the subject that you're applying for. So regardless of what subject it is, if you are choosing like a single subject degree, then it's really important to show that you've read around and gone above and beyond the school curriculum, that you're super engaged with that subject in other aspects of your life outside of school. I would say Oxbridge in particular really values academic curiosity. So if you're able to show that you go out of your way to further research things on your own, kind of or maybe you even go down like research rabbit holes and stuff like that. If you can communicate that in your personal statement and really show that you are by nature an academically curious individual, that goes a long way. So my third tip is about extracurriculars and which ones to keep. So there's a lot of advice that goes around the internet that talks about like Oxbridge not really caring at all about extracurriculars, but I do think that 1 or 2 lines does help like show a bit of personality, and especially if you're applying for an undergraduate degree and you're not only applying to Oxbridge, you do want to sprinkle in a little bit of personality and show that, you know, you are somewhat of a well-rounded person. But I would say that try to keep extracurriculars as relevant to the degree that you're applying for as possible. For example, if you are applying for an English degree and you also happen to be like a theater kid and really like into that side of things, that's very relevant. But with me, you know, I didn't really have a lot of those sort of things. I did try to start like a bit of a book club in my school, so I did add that. But yeah, it's better to show things that are directly related to your degree, but you can also sprinkle in a line or 2 of other things that you do, like, I don't know, if you're really good at a sport or something. Just don't spend a lot of time on things like that. Number 4 is sort of a writing tip, and that is to show your passion rather than just tell it. So rather than just saying that you're passionate about history, try to show through your actions how you are passionate about history. You know, try to demonstrate it through things or activities that you've done that shows an active pursuit of your passion. So for example, if you, instead of saying I am really passionate about history, you can demonstrate it through saying that last summer I spent 2 months like researching this particular topic, and it led me to visit this particular museum, and this is what I learned from it. So try to avoid using overused adverbs and adjectives and buzzwords, because you don't want to sound like you've just taken some template off of the student room and filled it in. And one final thing I just want to say before I read my personal statement is that every single person has unique experiences and unique things to offer. So before you write your personal statement, really try to think what's unique about you. It could be like certain achievements that you have, certain academic achievements, but it could also be life experiences and just anything that you can think about in your life that's really relevant to the subject that you're discussing. You know, if I read my personal statement, you might think that I can't recreate that because it's so specific to my life and my experiences. And that is what makes it a personal statement, because it is incredibly personal to the individual, and no one can truly recreate what you write. So just remember that. So you've got this, and I really believe in you, and best of luck. If anyone has any questions, please leave them below in the comments. If there's anything that I've failed to address, I'll be happy to answer every single comment. And if anyone has any suggestions of what they would like to see, I would really appreciate if you leave that below as well. And now, as promised, I will read you the personal statement that got me into Cambridge, and I'll put up some commentary on the screen while I'm reading it as well, just to emphasize some of the key takeaways that you might want to think about when you are writing your personal statement. George Eliot once wrote that poets possess a soul in which knowledge passes instantaneously into feeling, and feeling flashes back as a new organ of knowledge. This encapsulates my feeling that it is solely literature in its versatile forms that has the ability to stimulate both our empathy and intellect, fulfilling those human needs. Finding parts of my heritage or hints of sentiment I can identify with, laid out by various writers, be it in Rushdie's bard-like manipulation of language and syntax, or Lahiri's candid storytelling, has shown me how writing is a multifaceted act, one drawing from rich pasts as well as the cultural and societal concerns of the present. It is therefore a powerful tool I often find myself using to examine my own relationship to history and my environment every time it changes. Having lived in different countries whilst growing up, I was fortunate to be exposed to a range of cultures and their respective writers, from Nabokov's evocative descriptions and Chekhov's pithy yet dramatic writing style, to lesser-known works such as Say's Alienino. I gravitate towards these writers for their treatment of themes of human nature, the latter dealing with the political and spiritual divisions of the world, similar in scope to Conrad's Heart of Darkness, whilst always rendering the internal psychological conflicts of people across cultures as a shared truth. Studying literature at A level has given me a thorough foundation. With my close reading skills being developed in class, and my appreciation of the influence of ancient texts on modern literary concepts continually broadening. Watching a theater production of Sophocles' Oedipus and Colonus, for instance, allowed me to compare the devices of Greek tragedies to those of Shakespeare, and consider the importance of enlivening plays and epics through performance. It also contextualized works such as those of Oscar Wilde, who made generous reference to the Greeks whilst being stylistically innovative and relevant to Victorian society. Being here has allowed me to further my creative ambitions as well, archaeological museum visits often inspiring my A-level artwork. Moreover, I recently read a ghazal at the British Council's Creative Writing Summer School, which I wrote having analyzed Agha Shahid Ali's renditions of this Eastern poetic form, known for its oratory significance. Receiving critical feedback from and discussing the mechanisms of contemporary poetry and prose in seminars with experienced British and Greek writers improved my confidence in expressing my ideas and afforded me a glimpse into the UK publishing scene. In my free time, I like to keep updated on new book releases and literary prizes, as these can provoke interesting debate on how literature should be critiqued and judged, with our shifting political landscape inevitably affecting the appraisal of artistic endeavor. With respect to extracurriculars, in school I contributed by organizing a book club to encourage younger students to discuss their reading interests. I also volunteered alongside my peers for a charity organization serving meals to refugees in Athens, an experience that pushed me to work methodically in a group and strengthen my desire to give back to my community, which I believe I will carry on to university level. My desire to study literature at university stems from my strong conviction that it will challenge me to think in new ways, help me to develop as a person, and bring me substantially closer to my long-term writing goals.